Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Actually Comics podcast. Yeah, that's what we are. We're a comics podcast. And today I am joined by Bob, as always. Here, Bob. There you are.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Scared me.
Wasn't expecting it.
I wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know why, as you're literally introducing me.
I think it's because we're here an hour later than we should be, and yeah, sorry about that. We had a bunch of people in the store, and it took me forever to set all the things up, so we're here super late, so we're probably going to try to be fast, but there's also 5,000 friggin' comics this week.
Even if we just said the name of them, it would be an hour-long podcast.
So many books this week.
I threw out my back, carrying them to the back to read them.
Yes.
No, I didn't really.
Threw it straight out.
I could have, though.
You could have. Since we already have it loaded up, I'm not going to dick around. I don't think there's any business to address, so let's talk comics. Amazing Spider-Man.
I liked it.
Okay.
It's the more Dr. Octopus and Ed McGuinness drawn it and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of the Zeb Wells McGuinness team up. I think it's great stuff. I think this is like one of my favorites. So
also I like that that Rec Rap is in it for a single page just because Ed McGuinness wanted to draw him, and you definitely want Ed McGuinness to draw that character because he looks great.
Just very quickly, we also have Animal Castle, Volume 2, Number 3. This is a very popular book that is not on the website right now because there were so many books that we missed a bunch of stuff listing them on the website. That's just a heads up for everybody. If we're missing something that you want, just check back because...
Also listen to the podcast.
And also listen to the podcast. You'll see what's here. And here is Astrobots. They are robots that live in astrospace.
Robots in camouflage.
Yes. Cyborgs.
Mechanicals in camouflage.
Yes.
The Astrobots.
Exactly.
Catchphrase.
And here's a second printing of Battle Chasers number 10.
Oh, yeah.
The new issue of the Joe Madureira
written comic.
Written, yeah. I know.
I mean, it's fine, whatever.
It's fine, but I mean, really, when you want a Joe Madureira comic, you want him to illustrate it because he's amazing.
That would be my first
Joey
choice.
Mads. Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries.
They're on a boat. They're on a cruise ship, and it's a locked door, like escape room mystery kind of thing. But it's never a murder mystery with Scooby-Doo. It's always
yes,
someone stole something.
Yeah, that was literally the entire purpose of Scooby-Doo was that they were told that cartoons and things were too violent, and they needed to find some sort of version of excitement that involved non-violent crimes, and so they were always capitalist-based crimes.
Yeah,
they were always capitalism crimes. Mummies stealing coins, etc. Generally, wealthy landowners trying to scare people off by dressing as scarecrows or some such.
Yeah.
We've got Batman Incorporated, number 10.
I actually really like it. I think this book is on an upswing.
Really?
Yeah, I like it. It's it's Joker, but it's like he's just kind of like behind the scenes, which I think is a better use for the Joker.
I agree.
And there's some dopey like international jokers like
there's definitely a rodeo clown, which I think is
I can't remember the rodeo's name.
Thing.
There's like a big like Russian guy called Die Laughing.
That's pretty
and
funny. I mean, it would be German.
But German. And then there was another one that's the French one, and he's called Charles de Gaulle.
Oh, fuck.
Which is like so stupid.
That is so stupid.
He's a Pagliacci, so it's my favorite type of clown. But anyway, the thing that's cool about it is that it's like this. I mean, whatever. We want to shorten it up, but it's that Ghostmaker is basically giving up on trying to not kill people, and he's like saying we got to kill people. So I think hopefully what's happening is that they're gonna get rid of that guy because he sucks, and then they
agree.
Yeah, and then they get like the cool Batman Incorporateds that you know and love, the International Mystery Club of Heroes, which is what you want to read about.
Yes.
Also, Batman of China is in it. He's really good, and Batman Japan has a speed racer car.
Oh man,
which is pretty cool. He's been literally driving like the Batmobile, but it's the Mach 5.
Nice. That's
It's white. It's got the fins. It looks very much like the Mach 5. It's cool.
I'm a big fan. Also, a surprising book as always. Betty Page, Dynamite. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
I mean, I expect you to make crap, and then you take something that should be crap, and you make it into something that's totally readable.
Yeah, I found this very enjoyable, and I liked the first issue, and the mystery of the two. Why are there two Betty Pages is continuing, but it's not like multiverse. It's just like a good old-fashioned potboiler. Yep. It's good. I like it, and the art's good, and the writing's good.
And the lettering's good.
The lettering's subpar. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really just kidding. It's fine. I like the lettering. I love it. It's the best
please
lettering.
Don't insult Taylor. He'll stop lettering my comics.
Oh, no. I was kidding anyway. I actually have no problem with the lettering whatsoever.
I don't think you lettered that one. Anyway, let's see. We got The Web of Carnage. What a carnagey web we weave when first we practice to deceive, Bob.
Did I read it?
If you did, you would find that it is Morlun fighting Carnage for some reason.
I didn't read it, I guess. I skipped it somehow. That's weird. I had every comic, I thought, but I skipped it.
I don't know.
I can't tell you anything about this comic.
I'm not going to lie, it actually looks pretty good. That's kind of weird. I don't know what to think of that. Also, is that Ram V and Christos Gage writing this? That's pretty cool.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't tell you anything about it. I didn't read it. Sorry.
You know what else you didn't read because you didn't know it was there?
Yeah, I flipped through it, though.
You didn't read The Dingbats of Danger Street.
I didn't read Danger Street. I somehow left that on the shelf as well. But I actually am coming around on Danger Street. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Even though the titles are infuriating because it's like called like, this one's called Manhunter, but he's not in it. This one's called The Creeper, but he's not in it. It's like, because, I don't know, whatever. It's not even worth getting into. It's just dumb.
We got Dark Ride here.
Dark Ride. I did not read.
No.
That's that guy Josh Williamson, right?
Yeah. Who keeps doing cool stuff. So
keeps making cool stuff.
We got the second printing of DC Pride. This one
was pretty good.
Notable because of the Grant Morrison story. That's what everybody wants about it. So it became much in demand when people finally realized that he was doing something with it.
Yeah, it was weird because they announced it beforehand, but I guess people weren't paying attention.
I certainly wasn't.
I was.
Earth Divers. Well, you should really clue me in on this because I'm bad at running a comic shop.
I try, but I have like so many. I'm so busy, and then I don't even like to bring the previews home because then I like forget to read it, and then I'm I just basically stole $3 from Tristan.
I'm about to throw 3 previews in the trash, so do whatever you want, man. Earth Divers number 8 is out.
It's a popular series, right?
It is a popular series. I mean, it's popular because people are big fans of the Stephen Graham Jones. I am one of those people who is a big fan of Stephen Graham Jones. I have to say, he and Grady Hendrix are my 2 favorite current horror authors, and they're both it feels like they're both coming into their own as writers. And this most recent, he did a sequel to one of his books recently. I think it's called Don't Fear the Reaper. And it's the sequel to My Heart is a Chainsaw. I am currently reading it, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm halfway through the book, and I don't really know the name of it. Yeah. But either way, I knew it was a sequel to My Heart is a Chainsaw, which I loved. And I think this book is his best thing ever. And so nice. I'm very pleased that he's getting all this notoriety. He's a fucking amazing horror author. And also it's cool that he's, representing the Native American peoples. Yeah.
I find that when that thing happens to me that just happened to you, where it's like there's a thing but you can't think of it. And then afterwards, then you think of it again, and then you never forget it. Like 2 weeks ago or so I was trying to remember the name of Malaga Island, and now it's like it's in my head. Like I'll never forget Malaga Island now because I forgot it once.
What is it?
It's it's an island off the coast of Maine. We talked about it in relation to a comic book by I think a Cullen Bunn comic book that came out, but I'm not sure 100%.
We had a question about that, and for some reason I assumed that we had talked about Hopeless Maine. I thought.
Oh yeah, no, this is Malaga Island. It was colonized by a freed slave in the post-Civil War, and basically the state of the government of Maine just like went and they farmed it, and they were like on it, and this whole family and the state of Maine just basically like were like, we own this now, and they kicked him off. It's kind of shitty. And there is a graphic novel about it that is actually very worth reading.
Do you remember what it's called?
I can't find it.
Not again.
But I will find it, and two weeks from now, I'll tell you the name of the graphic novel.
It's
I think it's not currently in print. I bought it used at Longfellow Books like 7 years ago or something. So it's
fair.
But I could probably Google it.
Speaking of fallen friends, what about we're not speaking of fallen friends. This is the death of Miss Marvel. I'm
these so convincing death of Miss Marvel that everybody's crying about.
It's almost like this cover should have been everyone just laughing because they know that she's going to come back in a week.
Yeah.
It should have been everybody being like checking their watches, waiting for her to come back.
Yeah.
But
I will say the second story in this, the one that it's a Champions story, like the new version of the Champions. And it's Mark Waid and Humberto Ramos, and it is good. And it's mostly about Viv Vision.
I'm a huge Viv Vision fan too.
Well, I think you should do yourself a little favor and read that little story, because
I will.
I think it will tug at the old heartstrings.
Oh, there were a couple of weird heartstring tuggers this week. There were a couple of things that I was like, oh, well, that bummed me out. One, you basically told me to read, and then I was like, oh man, that was sad. Why did you do that to me?
I think I know which one that was.
Anyway. Let's see. Let's move on to the next one. This is one that I really liked. This is a thing called Fishflies.
I liked it. It was cool.
This is it has that Jeff Lemire like completely inexplicable like what the fuck is going on for most of it, and then you kind of start figuring out what the plot is right about at the end.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I see where we're going. And it's a horror story. It revolves around a disenchanted, maybe what's a lower grade of sociopath. Like it feels like somebody with some sort of borderline personality disorder. Yeah. Like the main child character is kind of like leaning into being maybe not the best person, or maybe having an inability to tell wrong from right, it seems. And then through supernatural craziness during this gigantic insect infestation, there is a person who is attacked by these things and begins to have a transformation. And this is a really weird, and I think we're sparking up a friendship between these two.
Yeah.
And this guy killed a child by accident, in air quotes maybe. It's dark by way of Jeff Lemire. It's like that kind of like it's dark for a Canadian story. You know? The same way that Canadian bacon is bacon. You know, it's about as dark as things get in Canada.
I thought it was good. And another thing that I would praise this book on is Image still doing a good thing with price point. Yes. I like that this is a $6 book, but it's like a square bound, you know, so it's like it's not
like a 60-pager.
Yeah,
like that.
And so it's like it's cool to have that be, you know, this huge like an extra size first issue at like a reasonable price.
Yep.
So I thought it was cool, and I like that monster, and I love when Lemire draws his own stories.
It's so funny
because he captures the flaws of his characters in the facial features and the body language in a way that is very cool and unique.
Agree. And that for me that is a new opinion, because I was always of the it took me a long time to get there, where I'd had a lot of friends who were just obsessed with Sweet Tooth, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't need to see the scrawlings of this child, whoever he is. And I found out it was a fully grown man, and I went, wait, what?
I read the Nobody first, and I just think that was like a really perfect. I think that he, you know, with Sweet Tooth, he's probably going a lot faster because it was monthly, and and so it's a different kind of animal a little bit, but something like this where it's taken a little bit more time, maybe it's more suited to your tastes.
Yeah, it might be it. I don't know.
I mean, his artwork is definitely not like pretty, you know.
No,
it's cool. It is in its own beauty, like its own pleasingness.
I think I just needed to get used to it. I
sure.
I think it took me some time to adjust to who he was and what he does with his artwork, and it's just it wasn't my cup of tea to begin with. And then I later on I grew into it. I read a few things. May's book that really did something for me, where I was like, I'm starting to get the feeling with this book, and it made me go back and look at his stuff a little closer and kind of get more of an appreciation for him.
Yeah, he's
good. That's all. But
he's also very nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Medical. I got him to sign
again, Canadian. What are you gonna do?
I got him to sign a Ultra the Multi-Alien panel for me. Like, I actually, instead of having him say in the cover, I had him sign the panel on the inside because he did that Ultra the Multi-Alien.
That's right.
Story.
I forgot about
It's
that.
one of my favorites.
We have next up Night Terrors, The Flash.
That was pretty good. I Night Terrors is not winning me over in terms of like I need to own this, but it seems like it's a pretty interesting story.
It is. Obviously, it's my cup of tea.
Yeah,
but of course, of course, I'm gonna fucking love it. But I've also seen a bunch of DC people who are really into it and are like going all in, which I think is interesting.
That's cool.
Because
I'm glad it's selling well.
Started off and it was like I was like really worried that no one was going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because it sold very slowly to start, and then this week we've had people going back and buying last week's, and it's really picking up.
Nice.
And I think it deserves to. I think it's really fun personally.
Nice. I liked this Flash issue. It was good.
And also, speaking of horror, it's super cool. Tom Holland's doing Fright Night again, and so we've got Tom Holland's Fright Night in comic book form. Yes, that Tom Holland. Thank God.
I actually really like that Neil Vokes is on it as well, because he's the classic. He was
the original.
He was the Now Comics Fright Night artist.
That's super awesome. I mean, I loved that.
He's not
series.
doing all the art. It's like split between two artists.
But man, I was such a fan of that Now Comics
Oh,
series.
I loved it.
And like all of the Now stuff, like the Nightbreed and all that shit. I really enjoyed that. The Darkman comics I read.
Yeah, that was a little after me. I had I got Speed Racer and
enjoyed those.
And I did buy the occasional Ralph Snart, although I'll stand by on this. This is a hill to die on for me. I think Ralph Snart is not a good comic book.
You monster.
I'm sorry. It just isn't.
That's it.
The podcast is canceled.
Podcast canceled.
Every time I buy a copy of Ralph Snart and I try to read it, and I'm just like, it's just not that good a comic.
It's very 90s. I mean,
it is,
it definitely has.
But it's like I could pick up a Beavis and Butthead comic and read it and be like, this is fine. But like I read Ralph Snart and I'm just like, it's just like it doesn't hit for me. But like there's other Now comics, like, and they also did the really cool I read Married with Children, obviously, because I was a big fan of the show, and the comic was actually really funny.
You were a big fan of Married with Children. That surprises me.
I was, because it was on Fox, and I didn't have Fox when I was a kid, so all the Fox shows, like Small Wonder, I was like super into Small Wonder because I never got to see it.
Dude, back when Fox started, they felt like
Simpsons was actually part of that too.
They felt like fucking U-52 from UHF.
Yeah.
They felt like a lawless renegade.
It was
bunch
so cool.
Of psychopaths.
If you knew about the Fox shows, you were
right,
like
exactly.
It was the counterculture, you know.
In a certain way, it absolutely was. I remember one of my friends, Jason Goodrich, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he's one of my friends.
He was like, oh my God, you got to see this, and he showed me in living color for the first time when I was staying over at his house, and I was like, he showed me a Fire Marshal Bill. It was what was going on, and I was like, this is on network television. This insanity.
Yeah, no, it was cool back in the day, and I definitely was super into anything that I could get. So like when the Married with Children comic came out, it felt like kind of rebellious to get that comic as well. And
totally.
Also, the Speed Racer comic was by Ken Stacy. It was like really good.
Yeah.
Like those are like, really you pick those up now, like they totally stand up.
Dude, the Ghostbusters comics are amazing.
Yeah, the real Ghostbusters were really good. I got those too. I forgot about that. That was now. The only ones I didn't like was, I did like Ralph Snart then, but I don't like it now. But Rust is the other one that I'm just like, it's not good.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool and edgy because it was like watercolor and had this but it's just not a good comic.
No, I kind of agree with you on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I definitely remember, we bought a collection from somebody off the street. Like somebody came in with like honestly garbage comics and she just wanted to get rid of them. It was like a kid's collection from the 90s. And and it was like all in kind of crappy condition. But one of the things that was in it was a Slimer comic, so we gave her a few bucks for the little stack of comics, even though it was all going in the quarter bin, because I wanted to read this Slimer comic.
Nice.
In fact, good. I think it actually went the other way. The surprising way is I think David bought it, which it never happens. David never buys anything off the street, but he was like, it had the Slimer comic in it, so I gave her $5 for it. And I was like, okay, we're not going to make that back, but that was a good call because I really enjoyed reading that Slimer comic.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, nice. Weird. Anyway, Gargoyles Dark Ages continues. I mean, you got a Gargoyles comic written by the guy who wrote Gargoyles. That's a pretty amazing thing if you're a fan of the series.
Sorry if my burp was just audible. I tried to hold it in.
I would be sadder if it wasn't. Ghost Lore number 3.
Ghost Lore is really it's
coming in.
It's coalescing, coagulating. It's going in a different direction. That it's going in a. Did you watch that show about the vampires? It was called like Midnight Mass or something like that. There was a Netflix show. It was the people that did Haunted Hill House, and then the same team like did another, and it was called Midnight Mass. It's worth watching.
Okay.
But it's about this island community and these vampires that kind of come in, and it's got like this religious bent to it or whatever. But there's like this kind of like Randall Flagg type guy. Ooh. And this is starting to like
my language.
Well, there's like a Randall Flagg type guy in Ghost Lore now. Like that's like so now there's like
that's true. I guess
because like they're figuring out that when they see the ghosts, they just get the ghost to tell them what the ghost needs to tell them so that the ghost can move on, and that's their role. And the daughter is more like kind of atheist, and the father is more kind of religious. But then now there's this other character, this like dark walk-in kind of guy. The walk-in dude comes in, and he is like weaponizing the ghosts as like murder weapons. Like he's using the ghosts as like bad thing to make. He's killing people with the ghosts.
Making ghost person.
Yes. So anyway, I like and Leo Max is the artist on the main part, and then there's always a guest artist for the story that the ghost tells, which I like the format of.
It's a great idea too.
Yeah, it's cool. All in bun.
The Great British Bump Off.
Final issue.
Yep.
This is a trade.
It is definitely a trade. That was written as a trade. There's no question in my mind.
Definitely.
That was meant to be consumed in one sitting.
And it's not, as much as it's called Bump Off, it's really not like a murder story at all. So it's like very
mystery.
Yeah,
it's a straight up cozy mystery.
Very British.
Yeah. That's what's so funny about it is that it's not British in like an American parody of the Great British Baking Show. It's British in this is a BBC TV show that you would see about some little old lady, Mrs. Kinsey Whistle's Fun Time Murder Hour or whatever. It's one of those.
Yeah, it's good.
So is Green Lantern Night Terrors.
The big revelation of this is that I had no idea that Hal Jordan was Jewish. None. I have never seen a comic where he's referred to as being Jewish, and so when he's as a kid with a yarmulke, I was like, all right.
Is that a thing that has been canon before, or is this
I don't know.
Is this a new thing?
This might be the first time.
The more I think about it, I can't think of a single DC character that's Jewish off the top of my head.
I bet I could probably come up with some. It feels like
if anybody could, you could.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I cannot.
But it might be like the Thing, where like the Thing was always considered Jewish, but just never was like mentioned outright as being Jewish, and then at some point they were like, we should just kind of like have him be Jewish in the comics.
Right. There's also just the fact that society is less bigoted than it was in some ways.
Yeah, some places.
But at least, when the Fantastic Four was coming out, it would have been weird. It would have been like almost revolutionary for him to be Jewish in the comic in the 60s. That would have been weird. You're still talking about a time when you could have golf courses where people could refuse service to Jewish people, like that's
Ragman.
Oh, I mean, okay, sure, but
apparently Batwoman is Jewish.
No, I think I knew that actually.
It says Harley Quinn is Jewish.
I think.
And then Hal Jordan is on the list, so I guess it must have already been Atom Smasher. Oh yeah, Atom Smasher is Jewish. I knew that.
I did not know that.
Night Owl is Jewish. I didn't know
shit about.
Wait, Iceman is Jewish? What?
And he's a DC character?
No, this is a list of just like comic characters, but yeah.
I mean, that's
about it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
from this list, Marvel has more Jewish characters.
Well, yeah. I mean, Marvel was written by a bunch of Jewish characters.
One of the Legion of Superheroes, Colossal Boy, is Jewish.
Oh, Legion of Superheroes. You're literally the worst. So
Colossal.
Sorry.
He's a colossal, this boy.
At least he's not bouncing or eating matter.
There was a Bouncing Boy comic, or a recent like Brian Bendis Legion comic.
Bendis Bouncing Boy.
Well, Brian Bendis had a comic of the Legion where Bouncing Boy was like Superman level powerful. It was really weird. He like was taking out like spaceships and shit. It's kind of funny.
Using only the power of bouncing.
Yeah, it was drawn by Riley Rossmo. It was like a future state one.
Famous bouncing enthusiast, Riley Rossmo.
And his name is Chuck Tane, in case you were wondering. I can tell you that, even though I hate the Legion of Superheroes, I know the name of Bouncing Boy.
Chuck Tane in the membrane.
The only...
Crazy insane, got Chuck Tane.
The only Legionnaire with a better name than Chuck Tane is Chameleon Boy, whose name is Reap Daggle.
Jesus Christ.
He's from another planet. Comics are awesome. I love it.
Oh, comics are the best.
Yeah, they are.
Gru in the Wild.
Yeah, it's like an animal activist Gru comic, sort of. Like, it's people are being mean to animals, and Gru doesn't like it.
Gru doesn't like that shit. And probably Ruffio doesn't like it either.
There's
being an animal.
There's a really funny letters in the letters column, which I assume is written by Marky Vanier. They're like, and now after years of trying, we finally got Sergio Aragones to do one of these Gru comics. Like, it's kind of stupid and funny.
I like it. What about Grot, number 3?
It's fine. There's a gun. Yeah, it's fine. I just kind of, there were so many comics. A few of these I was just kind of like flip.
I liked the Groot comic when I read the first. I think I read the first 2, and I think I liked both of them. So I'm sure it's great. I'm every time I see the name, I'm glad that someone else finally did it. I finally saw the graffiti in some bathroom that someone had written "I am Grout" in the tile grout.
Nice.
And I didn't want to have to be the one to do it. Every time I look at tile grout, I wanted to write it, and I said no. I'm a stand-up citizen. I own my own business. I'm not going to be graffitiing bathrooms. Please, someone else do this for me. And luckily someone did it. So I'm very happy. Nice. Anyway, Harley screws up the DCU, number 5.
It's a Batman-themed one, and it honestly is probably the best issue of the series. Like, she goes back in time and she goes to the Mask of Zorro and she fucks it all up so that Batman his parents don't die.
That's why Sean's into fucking Zorro. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's the movie. Yeah, Mask of Zorro.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's why Sean's doing a Zorro
it
book.
Wasn't like canonically, I think that was introduced maybe in the like 70s. That was the movie that they saw. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna guess that it was in the animated series though.
No, it was before that.
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't in the animated series that they.
No, in the 80s, that was the movie. I remember as a Batman.
I don't mean reader. Introduced. I mean that they used that.
Oh, they definitely. It was like full canon by the 90s. Okay. So yeah,
because
absolutely.
That's like Sean was obsessed with
Fairbanks, the Dennis Fairbanks, or what's his Douglas Fairbanks, that version.
Well, he's obsessed with Batman the Animated Series. Like, absolutely, just die-hard Batman the Animated Series fan. So that's why
really good.
That's why White Knight reads like Dark Knight Returns for the Batman Animated Series world.
Right. So she ends up saving him, and then she has to like fix the time stream by making sure his parents get killed. So it's it actually has like I don't know, it's like one of those things where it's like, I guess like it's more important to have Batman's parents get killed when he's a kid than yeah. So for DC Comics anyway.
Well, I mean, DC's going to lose a lot of money.
If Batman all of a sudden is like not Batman anymore.
What about this Heck Boy character?
Oh, I really like this one. I've enjoyed. I like how they did this. It's a 5-issue series, but there were 3 stories in it. So the first 2 issues were one story. The second 2 issues were 1, 2, then 3 and 4 were a second story, and then this is a standalone. But Hellboy is in love, and it's in the past. And Matt Smith is the artist, so it's really good. And Golden is doing the writing with Mignola, so it's got like that feel of like the Bones of. This is the same creative team as the Bones of Giants adaptation, not the. Oh, I mean, obviously they wrote the novel together, but if you are that deep into the Hellboy lore, and probably no one else is, but I mean, other people definitely are, but not maybe are listening. But anyway, whatever. I'm just digging a hole. But
you said that this was based on your favorite Loverboy song, "Hot Girls in Love." Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay. Yeah, and actually,
You're a huge Loverboy fan.
Well, no, I'm more of a Foreigner fan, to be honest.
Yes.
I do actually own 3 Foreigner vinyl records.
That's more than should exist in the world.
Some good tunes on those.
So
I own more this is how fucking lame I am. I own more Foreigner albums than I own Blue Oyster Cult albums.
You're a monster.
By 1, but still, that's bad. I should own way more Blue Oyster Cult albums.
Yes. You know what? You should own Secret Treaties. Just own Secret Treaties.
I used to have it on tape.
That's the best album.
Yeah, I used to have it on tape.
That's the one. Then you have Career of Evil, which is one of my favorite.
Career of Evil.
That's one of my favorite Blue Oyster Cult songs.
I have Cultosaurus Rex, which because it has that amazing cover, and I have the one that's just that's got the one. I don't know. Whatever. I'm forgetting the thing that I need to remember. I'll come back next week owning 2 more Blue Oyster Cult albums than I own right now, and also I will know the titles of every single one of them.
Excellent. And speaking of something you know the title of, this is a series called The Incredible Hulk, and this is when he meets the Wolverine.
Canada's finally got their own superhero.
Canada has finally got their own superhero and their own bacon.
I forgot about the witch lady in this whole thing. That whole Wendigo thing. Like, I just forgot about that whole deal.
Apparently, I've never read it.
So the Wendigo was brought back by this lady who's wearing, like, Norse horns and shit. And she's like a witch. And then there's like and that's the whole story. And then I read it and I remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that whole thing. But one thing I will praise Marvel on is, despite the fact that I hate their glossy paper so much, I love that they have digitally restored and high res scanned even the ads. It's not like here's the pages from the archive and then the ads are just scanned from a comic at like 400 DPI or whatever. It's like the whole thing reads like
it's beautiful.
It reads like a Marvel comic that came out, except for it's on glossy paper. So it doesn't have,
and it's not on full glossy paper. You have to admit it is not a full gloss. It
could be
a
worse.
Semi-gloss.
I don't like the paper, and that's a hill I will die on.
I know you will.
Forever. But that said, I think overall the presentation and the package of the reproduction is top notch. You're not going to get a better facsimile than this.
As you can see from the photo, this is a beautiful, beautiful ad for the Spider-Man medallion coin, and and if anybody has one of these and wants to sell it to me, please hit me up, because I would very much like to own this piece of ephemera. This is amazing. I had never seen this ad, and now I'm obsessed with the idea of owning this stupid fucking medallion.
You can get it you can put it around your neck, and then you can get a sorry, I'm too far from my microphone. And then you can get a leather jacket, and you can do a old school hip hop album.
Finally. I've been looking for an excuse to do an old school hip hop album, and that is no lie. Hunger and the Dusk by G. Willow Wilson.
I liked it. I actually liked it a lot. I brought this home.
This was not one that I liked, as in this is something that would be for me, but it is one that I thought was very well done, and it hits a market, like a bunch of people who come to me asking for things like this all the damn time. It's like this kind of in the Dungeons and Dragons type world, this sort of questy kind of world.
Yep.
We've got a story about orcs, but it's turned on its head because the orcs are not the bad guys.
Correct.
And it's a cool little idea, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's well executed. I really like the art. This artist, Wild Goose, Chris Wild Goose, has done some DC stuff that I had seen, and I liked the art style. It works really well in this. This is G. Will Wilson wrote it, so it's cool. I'm not like a big high fantasy D&D kind of person,
Same.
but I like the books that are like questy books, like Kaya and what was that one that I really loved that I wish, speaking of Matt Smith, Gorgo is great also. Yeah, I love that. That's I just was looking at your trades of that. You have like 3 copies of the trade. Someone should buy that. But really then, no, the one I'm thinking of is the one that the guy who drew Hellboy in Love, and Matt Kint wrote it, Folklords.
Oh yeah, Folklords.
That was really
good. That book was so good.
I love that book. I wish that would come back.
Yeah, same. I'm actually shocked that that's not coming back. That thing was gold. I expected that thing to go for a 100-issue run.
Yeah,
I'm
kind of cool.
Kind of bummed. In Hell We Fight, number 2 by John Layman and Jock, but not that Jock. Another Jock.
Different Jock.
A different Jock. Some other Jock. Maybe like a robot Jock.
Robot Jock.
Like the motion picture by Full Moon Entertainment.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jocks.
Robot Jocks. That's a movie?
It's a great movie.
Oh, it sounds kind of cool.
It's the guy that directed Reanimator doing a movie for Full Moon about big mechs fighting.
Okay.
Pretty fun. Done on a Full Moon budget, but pretty good.
There you go.
Night Terrors, number 1.
Yeah, this is like the main storyline.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Some would say the play is the thing, but
Night Terrors is the thing.
Not I. Night Terrors is the thing where we capture the conscience of the king. Lamentation, number 3.
That's Cullen Bunn, right?
That is Cullen Bunn. Yep. Yippers. This is a giganto issue.
Ooh, ad for Dwellings on the back. I can't wait till that's in stores.
That's super cool. I'm really glad they're doing that. But yeah, Lamentation is surprisingly good. It didn't really grab me. It's not really my thing, but it's a little too gothic-y for my taste.
Fortunately, Cullen Bunn writes enough stuff that I can be like, I don't have to love everything. I can still support him.
Out of the 4 things that he puts out each month. We got the 15th anniversary only bad edition of Lock and Key.
I don't understand what that means.
It means that they redid Lock and Key to make the ending all of the bad things happen. So it's a reissue of number 1 only with an unhappy ending.
Oh.
It's kind of a clever idea.
Interesting.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Whatever. If you're fucking Joe Hill, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. You got that Netflix money.
You got that Netflix money. You got that Stephen King Son money.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
Truth.
I'm sure that his trust fund is enormous. What if Dark Loki? He said,
what if Dark Loki? I think is
Let's
the
just pretend
cadence.
that's a sentence that makes sense.
What if Dark? So it's like, this is basically...
What if Dark?
So
Loki.
a year ago, Marvel was like, hey, DC's doing something with this here Dark multiverse. Let's do What If as a Dark. And then they're like, nah, that's too stupid. And then like they didn't do it for the 6 months that it usually takes them to rip off DC's good ideas. And then 6 months later, they're like, maybe we should do this. Let's get Walt Simonson to draw this cool addendum to his Thor run, which is what it is, and it's cool.
It's cool. In defense of Marvel, I will say that it is an equal and opportunity ripping off that goes on between the two companies.
The thing I will say about Marvel is that oftentimes, because they wait until the idea is in the ether, they have time to do it just slightly better. Or at least they used to. They've kind of lost it since they've been Disneyfied.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, it feels like when
they used to, like Civil War was like kind of like that, and like I
don't know, like Marvel Zombies was.
Yeah, Marvel Zombies was its own
better
thing.
than
But Marvel Zombies was just like Mark Millar did.
I would say that when DC rips off Marvel, sometimes they kind of don't.
I think Deceased was really good.
Deceased was interesting because it's a ripoff, but it's not the same type of ripoff. But it's kind of fun.
It's cohesive, and it also worked within the framework of like Kirby's Fourth World stuff, so it was kind of cool, and it didn't feel like it was totally derivative, which was good.
Yeah.
But the Marvel Zombies was an original kind of like Mark Millar just did that Fantastic Four thing with, and then they were like, "Hey, let's just do
Kirkman,
a whole."
You want to do this crazy thing?
Although Kirkman doesn't have too many good things to say about it. I read an interview with him recently.
So stupid
he was
because the Army of Darkness crossover ruled. Whatever.
Oh no, he doesn't say it's a bad comic. He says that working for Marvel was terrible.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that working for every company is terrible. Because working for companies is terrible because publishers suck. Loki, number 2.
Yes. It's a comic.
It's a comic. All right, here's an absolute standout of a comic.
Probably my pick of the week.
Lonesome Hunters, The Wolf Child. Jesus fucking
so good.
Christ.
So good.
This was heartrending and weird and amazing and beautiful and wow, what a fucking comic.
And just really incredibly well told, like where all of these startup series always like kind of or not always, but very often will follow like a pattern of here's the world and here's why the world is the way the world is, whereas this is like you're automatically dealing with things that you're just like, wait, why are they talking about swords and why is there this and why is there that and what's this angle, and but over the course of the issue it's all revealed to you, and it also has beautiful artwork and it's great. And I like this better than Haro Canti, which I like a lot. Off the bat, like there's something really weird and culty about it that I just think is like very interesting, and it's
spectacular.
Yeah, and it's not an area that's mined for comics excessively, so it feels fresh. And then there's just like Tyler Crook art; it's just so good. So it's great.
My wife literally saw this in a preview somewhere and was like, "You're carrying this, right? This looks fucking amazing."
Yeah,
and she went out of her way to be like, you need to make sure that you carry a bunch of this because it's I couldn't believe it when I read it. Like I read the first one and I thought it was cool. Like I remember the first series and I thought it was all right.
Oh wait, there's another series of this?
Yeah, this is a tie-in to Lonesome Hunters.
I never have seen it before. I thought this was a brand new number 1. Nothing done with it before.
This was Tyler Crook did a thing called Lonesome Hunters before. Maybe I'm drunk and living in.
Oh, I got to get that. I somehow reality, I missed it completely.
No, that is a thing.
Oh, that's cool.
And
neat.
Bob sent me a photo.
That's some manga.
Ah, Jesus, fucking horrifying. What is that shit?
I don't know, but you got to get it. It looks great.
It's gonna give me the willies. It looks like a bunch of vinyl purses with personalities,
with sharp teeth.
Yes. Okay, these are the tunes that are loony.
Yes.
See, that there is his chair, and he is a varmint, in case you were wondering. That is a varmint, and this is, look at that cover. Remember this? Hey, guys, remember when you could get the tattoos from Barks Root Beer in that issue of Amazing Spider-Man where the Hobgoblin tore his suit in half?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's classic.
Good times. And here, we're right back there. Miles Morales getting his suit torn in half by a hobgoblin. Stupid hobgoblins. Always fucking everything up. They're pushing the hobgoblin hard lately. I wonder if he's showing up in something, because he's definitely getting a lot of airtime at Marvel, at the House of Ideas. But here we go. Hey, look at what we got here. The most Moon Knight that you're ever going to get in a single issue. This is an enormous comic book. It is a $10 100-page, something like that, 80-page. It's giganto.
There is an earlier Lonesome Hunters, by the way.
Okay, good. I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy.
Thank God.
I apologize to all involved in creating this series that I missed the first one.
Wow, when I started saying that, and then I was like, oh my God, what if I'm wrong and my brain is like making shit up? I'm going to have to start medicating myself or something. So thank God I'm not going totally berserkers. But Moon Knight, if you like a Moon Knight, that's going to be a lot of Moon Knight for your Moon Knight. And speaking of a lot of, Look at this. It's the 40th fucking anniversary of My Little Pony. Can that possibly be true? Can 1983 be 40 years ago? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dying so quickly. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Remember how far 1983 felt from whenever you were born?
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing.
Jesus.
But I remember in 1983 thinking that, like, you know, like, I don't know, what was I? 9.
But definitely I know why everything hurts now when I wake up in the morning.
Yeah,
so
totally.
that at least makes sense. Panya, the mummy's curse.
That's the character from Hellboy getting a origin story that is set in, obviously, because she's a mummy, set in ancient Egypt.
Set in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Duh. And more Planets of the Apes is.
Yeah.
We got this.
I love the
continuing
artist on this. He's good. He did some turtle stuff, I think, maybe before. Watchter, and he did Wachter, and then also Iron Fist, I think, maybe.
Yes, that is correct.
That Larry Hama Iron Fist,
yes,
I think, is the artist on that.
I really liked quite a bit.
Or perhaps another book that Larry Hama wrote.
So, not a huge fan of this series, but I will say that this cover is creepy as shit. I love it. The Red Goblin. That is a really, really great interpretation of a goblin character. I like it quite a bit.
Cool.
But who cares about this series? Nobody.
I don't know. Isn't it like Harry Osborn's son? It's the Red Goblin, I think.
Probably.
I just they let these guys just be normal people.
No, we can't.
Just let them breathe.
No, and in fact, we can't let
They're
Robin
gonna make them
breathe
in
either.
The Goblin Core soon.
Oh, Goblin Cock.
Oh no!
The name of a band that I never listened to. Let's see. That is Night Terror's Robin next.
Yeah, this is following Tim Drake and Jason Todd.
And the Rocket.
I will say the Night Terror's version of Red Hood is pretty creepy looking.
Yes, I agree. Rocketeer.
Rocketeer, yeah.
In the Den of Thieves.
New Rocketeer.
If you like the Rocketeer, this is that thing that I just said, namely the Rocketeer. And here's a damaged copy of Rogue and Gambit.
No, I'm sorry.
You can see that it's got a little ding-dong on the top.
Oh.
Please, everything that I get from fucking... I have like 20% damages coming from all of my distributors lately.
Oh, no.
Nobody knows how to do a goddamn thing anymore.
It's crazy.
There was... Last week, I had all of my expensive variants were shipped in one box, and they fucked up every single one of them.
Oh.
Just like every one of them was crushed in the corner. And I called them up and I was like, all right, I know you're not going to do anything for me, but I just have to say, guys, seriously, this cost me like $400. What the fuck are you doing, man? And they were like, oh, we have those in stock. We'll replace them.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, do I have to keep that tone of voice every time I call you and go through that whole rigmarole, or can I just say it? Like, I don't know.
It's a happy
I don't know how that works.
That's cool.
But Rogue and Gambit, they're a comic book.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I'm glad you chose this cover. Thank you. Thank you. I mean,
is there another cover?
Oh boy, is there ever? And probably I'm going to have to show it now, just because.
I apologize.
Yeah, exactly. This fucking comic, this fucking guy. Jesus Christ, Eric Larson, what's your deal, man?
Do you want to show
Yeah,
this?
Give me that.
Okay.
The world needs to see this nonsense.
I'm glad I didn't see it.
There you go. For very briefly, here's the incredibly offensive, weird, fucking savage dragon.
It is odd.
Sexy by way of sexism.
It must sell more copies because they're making reference to the fact that it's selling more copies.
I mean, I think that they're referring to that one issue that he did that was straight up porno, and it sold really well because people went, "What the hell? I think this is
I
the
need
one
to own this weird thing."
Right, exactly. It's like when you find out that Eric Larson has lost his mind, you're like, "Oh, this is the one where he snapped. This will be fun to have later on when, he goes on a killing spree or something."
If I actually don't think that he has, but if I were going to peg one issue as to when he maybe did, it would be the giant radioactive Osama bin Laden.
Yes, I agree.
But that was a long time past. And, honestly, I enjoy that Savage Dragon is a comic book that still comes out. And I am on the fence. Like every time I see an issue of Savage Dragon, I pick it up and I'm like, maybe this is the one that I'll buy again. Because I did have a stint where I got back into it about probably 15 years ago, and I read it for a few issues.
There's a talking tiger in it.
Oh, I like that the talking tiger says Toronto a million times in his dialogue. In that he's like, I could move to San Francisco. It's not like Toronto is great. I am in. It's like it's so weird how many times he says Toronto, and maybe it's just in my head because I'm planning a trip to Toronto in the next several weeks. But he says it a lot. Like here. Let's read from this comic book. It's only it's 2 panels. Why don't I just move to San Francisco? You could do that? Sure, why not? I've got no ties to Toronto. I'm not married to Toronto. There's no reason I have to live in Toronto. I don't even like Toronto. The only reason I've stuck around Toronto is because you're here. It snows in Toronto. I don't like snow. If you're not sticking around Toronto, forget it. He says Toronto so many times.
Sounds like an essay by a kid that's filling time. Anyway,
I feel like you had to have done it on purpose.
Gross. Savage Squad 6 is a comic book that is evidently not that good.
I flipped through it. I can't say it's not good. It's not a thing that I'm looking to read.
Scarlet Witch, Steve Orlando doing one of the few books where he actually kind of lands it. Not really a huge fan of Steve Orlando's work, and
I have no issue with Steve Orlando.
It's a much better version of all.
Personally,
of it. I don't have any.
I don't find the Scarlet Witch
that like his books.
No, I mean like his writing. Personally, I just don't particularly care that much about the character of the Scarlet Witch. And you can like make it more like the TV show. It's not going to make me be like, yeah, I need this.
Right. Shazam, Night Terrors.
Yeah, this is Mary Shazam. Mary Marvel.
Mary, quite Shazammy.
Yeah.
This is a real standout for me. This is a thing called Sirens of the City.
I loved the art in this. Very cool.
This is definitely one of those books that, from a fan of the punk rock, I can say that people try to do this a lot. They try to make a punk rock comic, and I don't like to throw the word poser around a lot. But it doesn't really come off right. You know, it always kind of feels disingenuous. Always. It sometimes comes off feeling disingenuous. And this feels really fucking legit. And everything about this is strong. It also has a supernatural horror element to it. You've got vampires and craziness, and these are literal sirens.
I love the character design in it too. Is that Carrie Randolph? Is that the artist? Yeah.
Just it's phenomenal. The art is
I love the color too.
Perfect. Just like it nails exactly what it's going for. If you think this is going to be your thing, this is your thing. I've never seen anybody nail this kind of punk rock aesthetic so perfectly and make it like just absolutely to a T.
Yeah.
Love it. One of my favorite books of the week.
I might even say it even has like sort of like a Pander Brothers feel to the art, but maybe that's the coloring for me that made that association.
I don't think I even know who you're talking about.
They were the artists that did Grendel after Matt Wagner left.
Yeah, I remember
and they did some. I mean, I don't know what they do now, but anyway. I like the art.
We have Last Action Hero, the comic book.
Sorry I picked that cover. I didn't know what the main cover was. They all look like something.
I know. They really need to stop that. This book is relying very heavily on novelty covers, and the book is better than that, and it deserves to...
That one.
Jesus Christ, it's a Star Wars parody.
I mean,
they're all parodies. It's like, fuck you, mashup T-shirt comics. Stop that. But it's good. I like this book. And there's a Last Action Hero cover.
Nice.
If that's a thing that you like, you can have that version. Speaking of, listen, it's a movie that's undergoing a cultural reappraisal as we speak.
Similar to Showgirls.
So I don't know. Did
Showgirls absolutely has gone through a cultural reappraisal? Yeah.
Was Showgirls ever considered to be a bad movie?
Yes.
Well, people
absolutely.
are stupid.
It was like
amazing. Gremlins 2 was another one.
Yep.
The Thing is another movie that people fucking hated when it came out.
Well, it's because when two of your factors for rating whether a movie is good or not is whether critics liked it and whether it sold, and it's like those are the worst metrics.
Those are the two worst metrics.
Worst, absolute worst metrics.
Yep.
Because critics hate everything except for things that they all agree that it's good, and
Yeah.
I'm oversimplifying.
But sure, I agree with you. But you know what people really like?
What?
People love a Spirit World.
I personally also love Spirit World.
There are very few comics that I have people coming in to tell me how much they like. And this is one of them. This is a book that people legitimately come in and they say, I am loving Spirit World and want to talk to other people about how much they like it.
Nice. It has my favorite line of dialogue, and I don't know that I can really sell the dialogue, but it was very humorous to me. It's Cass Kane, the Batgirl, is stuck in the Spirit World. They're rescuing her, but they get into a fight with the spirit ghosts, and Cass says, less fighting. No, she says, less fighting, more fighting. And it's just really funny. I don't know, like it's like so like, or less, yeah, like less fighting, more fighting, because they're like fighting amongst each other is the context.
Yes.
And then she's like, no, less fighting, more fighting.
Right.
But it's just really funny. I thought it was very clever.
Good.
I like that line a lot. There was another line I liked from another comic as well, but that was good.
We've got Star Signs number 3. That is a comic book that is out. We have Star Trek. That is a trek amongst the stars.
They're trekking.
Keep
on trekking.
Keep on trekking.
Has anyone made that shirt?
In fact, they have.
Yeah,
that is one of the most classic parody shirts of all time. We've got Star Trek The Motion Picture. They gave Uhura some big hair in this. I like it. It's a good look. I don't believe that her hair was that large in real life, but if it was, I'm sure it looked great on her. We've got Emma Kubert's Stoneheart, which is a comic book by someone named Emma Kubert, who I'm guessing is related to the famous Kubert family of Kuberts.
Probably.
Or perhaps from the Kubert family, who jump up and down a pyramid, evading snakes and little balls that seem to want to murder them. We have...
Spelled differently.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
So when I went to the Kubert school, and it was the one that just had the Q and the hyphen, that explains why all I did all day was play Kubert, the video game.
Well, yeah, that's what they do at the Kubert school.
Ah, fuck. Best $50,000 I ever spent, really.
You're still paying off the student loans, but man, you are really good at that video game.
I can clear at least 3 screens on
Nice.
Kubert.
Hey, that's pretty good. That's a hard game to clear.
I can actually clear 5 screens.
I went to Frogger University myself.
Oh my god.
That's
another university I'd go to. If there was a Burger Time U.
Oh man.
Fuck.
Yes.
Speaking of which, man, remember the movie Hamburger University?
I remember it existing. I'm not sure I remember the movie itself.
I remember that they slept in a bed that looked like a hamburger. Other than that, I remember nothing about it.
I do remember it, and the reason I remember it is because it was on USA Up All Night.
Constantly.
Yes.
Constantly.
Yes. I do remember Hamburger University.
Yeah.
They went to school to learn how to sell hamburgers or to how to do franchise. Like it was like the McDonald's college, which is a real thing.
But it was a sex romp.
Right. Right. Sexy hamburgers.
Sexy hamburger romp. And I remember some sort of scene where he referred to his penis as a gherkin. And I thought, that's very odd. It seems like a poor choice of words. Anyway, maybe he was insulting someone.
Merkin. No, it's just like...
Because he had lost all of his pubic hair, and it was the Middle Ages. Bounty Hunters by the Star Wars.
Yep.
What are they all looking at? They're all like...
They're staring into the middle distance.
No, they're staring down at us like they're on an NWA cover. I don't like this.
Straight out of Kessel Run.
Exactly. It's so close. You almost hit that one. You were seconds away.
Straight out of Dagobah.
Okay, sure.
Straight out
of Superman Lost number 5 of 10.
Oh, Superman Lost 5 of 10 is good.
Yeah. Speaking of books that people buy the crap out of.
Yeah,
it's one that we have sold out of multiple times.
Well, and now you're going to sell even more because James Gunn was listing the Superman stories you should read before you see his Superman book, and Superman Lost is one of the ones that he mentioned. Cool. Oddly enough.
That is very oddly enough. Here's one that was a big surprise for me. Not a surprise that it was cool because Svengoolie's cool. Let's say he's a cool ghoul. Some might say. But holy shit. this was really good, and I haven't seen Jill Thompson do stuff for a really long time. I was really
Jill Thompson's still doing stuff. I think Jill Thompson did some stuff in a Wonder Woman comic recently.
Yeah, but I don't read the Wonder Woman comics.
Well,
so I
that's
was really
why you
happy,
haven't seen it.
I was happy to see her do something, and also I was happy to see her do something in her style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Wonder Woman, she's doing something that's, more of a, I don't want to say serious, but
you're critiquing something you've never seen.
But it's more serious. But I mean, this falls more into her doing like her fairy god.
I think I think her style is consistent, but I take your point.
No. I mean, like I like her doing funny stuff.
Yeah, like, this was cool, and I actually really liked the Balthazar,
Balthazar
as well. It was cool, well put together comic book. Starring Svengoolie.
Yes.
Also, it had a picture of the original Svengoolie, which I had never seen.
Oh, well.
He's weird. He's like a hippie, but like a corpse. Hippie.
Yeah, he also was a cool ghoul. The world's finest Teen Titans.
I really dug it. I love a Teen Titans comic, and I love a Mark Waid comic, and this is as good as those things. It's chocolate and peanut butter. For me. I loved it.
Fair. I did not read it, but now I feel like I need to.
That was good.
You know what?
I think that was the other line I liked from a comic. Actually, I'll see if I can find it while you talk about the next thing.
I'm going to talk about the T-Fury mashup of comic books. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Stranger Things. Yes, that's right. Two great tastes that have no business being in the same room together.
And for whatever reason, they hire a good, like there's a really good artist drawing it.
Absolutely
so like
amazing.
and you're just like kind of like there's a comic that doesn't have a really great artist that really could have used this guy.
But I love what he does and the choices that he makes for the characters and like drawing the turtles in their original Mirage style, and he's really good at like this is probably the best Mirage Turtles mashup. He draws the weird bean heads, and I miss those. I miss the weird malformed heads that Eastman and Laird used to draw.
Yeah,
they're really nice. And let's just keep going. Turtles 141 is awesome. They're really starting to catch a second wind here after that big crossover that kind of, let's not say it sucked, but it was not all that good. And this annual, this Out of Time annual, is amazing as well. We have sort of a time traveling turtle coming through.
It is not even sort of. It is a time traveling. There's a future.
I was going to say sort of a Terminator story, and then I got my brain switched gears.
This is honestly like probably my favorite single issue turtle comic that I've read in some time.
That's fair.
I really dig a time travel story, so it's hitting me right in the spot where it needs to hit. But it is great. So like basically it's kind of weird because this one turtle comes back in time and he's like, I have to stop the turtles from destroying the world or the universe or something. And none of the four turtles can figure out which turtle it is, which I think is kind of strange if you think it's one of them grown up.
Yeah, but if you look at him, he's
all fucked up. Yeah,
he's
but
at
like
a hard road.
Yeah, his arm's all blown up. And that was actually one of my favorite things from
so fucked up.
Where he passes out when he first gets there, and then he wakes up and they put a robot arm on him, and he's like, "What the fuck did you do? Like, what'd you do to me?" And they said they took it from the famous robot character.
Yes, from
Metalhead, yeah. They took a Metalhead arm and put it on this turtle, and I thought it was really cool. But I also really liked Donatello is my favorite turtle, so like it was sort of Donatello heavy. So I
would have liked it better if they had taken it from was it Donatello? Was it?
Wait, what?
If they'd taken it from Donatello's robot body from the Larson run,
yeah,
when Eric Larson had him killed and turned into a robot, and
totally.
They redid that in the IDW version.
Yeah, that would have worked.
I would have liked that too. Unstoppable Doom Patrol.
Yeah, this is almost like it's weird because it's a 6-issue miniseries, but they added another issue as a this is like a different artist. So it's not Chris Burnham, but this is like the Doom Patrol being, there's like it's kind of a clever concept. It's a psychiatrist. It's a super psychiatrist, but basically what is like a psychiatrist that their power is to draw energy from 5 different Mitzelplicks, basically. They're like 5th dimensional. So it's kind of weird, and it's a lot of splash pages. There's a pretty big Robot Man Cliff Steele thing that's revealed in it, in terms of like kind of a game changer for that character, and if you're into those types of things. But I like the Doom Patrol, and as much as I'm really happy that like Green Arrow got extended, I'm kind of like, extend Doom Patrol. I want to read more of this. But this yet they have not extended it. But it's a good week for Doom Patrol anyway because of other things that are coming up.
Not Void Rivals.
Not Void Rivals.
This is the second printing of Void Rivals. This is that.
I do really like that cover.
Transformers comic. The cover's very good. Comic is a thing. I don't know if
I just think it's pretty good.
I don't know if people like it. They like it. Not my thing, but
really,
yeah, I did not enjoy it.
Huh. I thought it was pretty cool.
It surprises me because I, in general, think that
it's kind of Saga in a way. It's kind of like it felt sort of derivative of Saga to me. Is my
weird.
Complaint.
To me, it felt like a bunch of things happening that I didn't give a shit about.
Yeah,
it was weird. It was like every time there was a revelation in the comic, it was like, oh my god, this soup, it has fennel in it. My god, it does. Wow, you like fennel? I also like fennel. Okay. It's just like my dream, where we both enjoyed fennel. Okay. Fucking don't care. I don't care if you're both the same person. I don't remember what your dream is. I don't care about any of this shit. It's like, not really my thing.
Huh.
And until the Transformers come in and start transformerizing, I'll be like, okay. I just don't give a shit about these people characters. It's like every time they're like, hey, look, we got Millie Bobby Brown for our Godzilla movie. It's like, fuck you, dude. I don't care about her. I care about Godzilla. How about having Godzilla fight? I'm like, I like Godzilla.
Yeah.
But she was 11 on Stranger Things. It's like...
So put her in a movie.
So put her in the Stranger Things movie, not a fucking Godzilla movie. How about... I got a better casting. I got a better stunt cast for you. Gamera. You want to stunt cast that part? Mothra. Great choice for her part. And then you got the guy from Breaking Bad. I don't know. How about Angorasaurus? Get him in there. That's the guy you want for that role. And then, I don't know, that fucking lobster. Do that. Whatever it is, giant monster. Replace every character with a giant monster. Have them fight, and then we have a movie. Like, every character in that, replace them with a fucking Transformer. Then you got a movie that I care about.
There you go.
Anyway, Warlock. Rebirth.
Yeah.
They're rebirthing a Warlock.
Yeah. Oh, man. I just read one of the Starlin Warlock comics, a reprint of it in Fantasy Masterpieces, and, man,
nice.
Savage. That comic is fucking savage.
It's weird.
It's like, it is like a Marvel comic that is filled with more hatred for Stan Lee than like
yes.
anything I've ever seen. Like, I've read entire interviews with Jack Kirby that were nicer than like the 10 pages of that fucking Warlock comic. Like, it is savage.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Savage. But and like just so shitty. Like it's honestly, it's hard to read because it's like so inside baseball that it's like,
I agree. Yeah.
You have to kind of know that like, oh, this is Marv Wolfman and this is Len Wein and this is Stan Lee and this is his wife that he spends like a ton of time being like super mean to, and it's
she's nice.
Fuck, dude. I mean, I don't know how nice she is. I think it's I don't know. It's just bananas. Like,
I don't know. Lloyd Kaufman says she's really nice. That's
okay.
all. I only know from Lloyd.
I don't.
But they're apparently really good friends. So
yeah.
But either way,
shit's savage. The clown one. That's the one.
Yeah.
The one where he goes to the clown place.
It's really. Oh yeah, that's
and Stanley is the clown, and
the
the two guys are the clowns, and the matriarch is Stanley's wife, and she's telling him to hire people to build hills of garbage, so that they can have more money, and she doesn't care, and she thinks it's funny that they're making garbage, and so he's like critiquing Marvel Comics, literally calling his own publisher, his own boss, his own paycheck garbage.
Yep.
Not even like masking it.
And then they just
published it. Those
Stanley
fucking
had
dumbasses.
so little to do with things that he didn't even see the thing that they're doing.
Well, I mean, eventually, it's funny. Like apparently, it went on until Jerry Conway, who I think is fucking awesome. Jerry Conway was like, I'm editorializing out of turn. I don't really know, but like Jerry Conway like canceled it basically. Yeah. It was like, this is not going to keep happening, and then Jerry Conway got fired. Yeah. And then they were like, the other guy, Archie Goodwin, took over, and Archie Goodwin was like, please come back. And they got him to do the 2 annuals. And that was, but he was I'm done. And
it's so funny because what I think is interesting.
If my own employer isn't going to let me write savage critiques of their fucking artwork, I'm not going to work for them. Like, that's kind of a baller move.
It is. I think that the sci-fi angle of Adam Warlock and the character and the way that they actually, there's a lot of that stuff, but then when Starlin takes over and starts doing it as like his crazy version, where he basically takes, it's almost like he's doing, oh my God, Steve Ditko. Like he's almost.
Oh yeah, the clown issue is dedicated to Steve Ditko.
Well, but the idea of Adam Warlock in general is like a libertarian fantasy. You know what I mean? Like it feels like a very libertarian concept of this. Like, there's all this like, what if, the worst case scenario for libertarianism, and Adam Warlock is essentially the best case for libertarianism. He's a character who has all this power and is incredibly self-centered, but then because of his self-centeredness uses this power to save the world in his quest to understand himself. So it's a very Ayn Randy kind of thing. I
see that sort of, but I see him more as a critique of hippies.
Oh,
so
it's
the Starlin one, because obviously the Roy Thomas version is Christ.
Yeah. Oh,
and then
fuck yeah, it is.
And
yeah,
and
it's
then
really boring.
Yeah, it sucks. And then sorry, Roy Thomas, but because I'm sure he's listening. But then the Starlin one is hippies, but also just like this weird meta commentary about Marvel Comics at the time and all of the people that are involved. Anyway, I just happened to like pull it out of a stack and was like, what is fucking going on? And then I Googled it and I was like, Jesus Christ, he's just being really fucking mean to his employers. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Oh, and then the Magus being like the pinnacle of like the hippies when they get too much power, and it ends up being like actually like totally right on the money and predicting like yuppies and like the 80s and the fucking totally Wall Street and all that bullshit.
Well, Wildcats is a comic book.
It is.
Here's something that I actually kind of liked. X-Men: Days of Future Past Doomsday.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a storyline that I really enjoy from X-Men. So
you get to see them all die.
Right, but I really like the
instead of it just being a poster that tells you they're dead, you get to actually see them die.
Sure, but it's also that moment of the Magneto story where he takes control of the nuclear weapons and all that stuff, which was just, I don't know, that's one of my favorite comics. I really enjoy that.
It can certainly be fleshed out.
Yeah. And I think it has
also that shit with Cyclops with his eyes being burned out is pretty fucked up. I like that. That was a nice touch.
Oh, you know what I like as well? I like, what do they call him? Beast Rod?
Yeah. This is the future form of Evil Beast, because they're mining that.
He is a Nimrod.
I actually do think this is one of the better X-Men titles, as much as I hate what they're doing to Beast. We've talked about it before.
Anyway. But I think this is great, and I really enjoyed it, and I like the Nimrod
I do like the armor for Beast. It's kind of a cool design. The art is really good on this comic, X-Force.
Well, here's this thing. You've probably heard of it. It's X-Men and Enter the Phoenix.
I was surprised at how little Phoenix is actually in that comic book. She's only in it for like 4 panels, and then they go on vacation. Like straight up. That's what
if
happens.
only they played baseball, it would be more.
They do. They just get in their
favorite.
plane and they go, and Storm and Nightcrawler go on a date, and they go and then like it's like Black Tom,
Texas.
And I think they go to they go to Ireland.
You know, if I had a Blackbird, I'd do the same shit.
I mean, I'd go everywhere if I had a fucking Blackbird.
God
Jesus
damn.
Christ. Be like, yeah, I don't need a passport. I'll just go there. Sure. Sounds cool.
Yeah, no international courts are
I'll just
mad
land
about me.
wherever the fuck and
I'm just going wherever the fuck I feel like. That's weird.
If anybody gets mad at me, I just turn my plane invisible.
Or shoot them with my eye lasers or erase their brain.
To change the weather so they can't see me.
And for some reason, they hate us. I don't know why. Why do they all fear and loathe me? Hold on a second. I need to erase everyone's mind.
Yeah, yeah. That's our X-Men, all right.
Immortal X-Men is a comic book that is out.
Yeah, it seems like it's sort of momentous in the Krakoa storyline.
Yes.
But I don't give a fuck.
And
sorry.
Hey, guess what? Zatanna is back.
Yeah, and she's teamed up with Cliff Steele for the Doom Patrol.
Fuck yeah.
This is a comic that this is the first Night Terrors that I was like, I definitely need to get this. Like, I like the art. The story is fairly boilerplate, but Zatanna's being a badass and Cliff Steele's being a badass, and what else do you need?
Enjoyable.
It's a cool team up that's I've never seen before, and it's fun.
Yeah, it is a weird choice for a team up, but really fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We've gone way too long, and it's so late,
I'm
and
so tired.
I need to go home and go to sleep at some point.
Too. I have to bring my car.
I still need to upload all this garbage. So I'm going to end this before talking about trades, but you can see them on the website. We haven't even finished loading them, so I worry that I'm like going to talk about something that I haven't even put up there because there's so much stuff this week. It is almost beyond my ability to get it done in a single day, so I apologize for that.
I know one thing is called Yotsuba.
It is called Yotsuba. I actually did a complete reorder for Yotsuba because people love that book.
It looks cute.
We were totally sold out of it, and I didn't even notice. So I did a big old reorder.
So much stuff.
That's the problem. Is it's very difficult to notice when you sell out of stuff when you have so much stuff.
So much stuff. Plus, they don't always keep it in print.
Exactly. That's also the worst. And manga was the worst for that. So anyway, follow us at Coast City Comics. Get on Coast City Comics main. That is our YouTube page. If you want to see our dumb faces, they are right there for you to look at. But it also shows you the comic books as well, which is kind of nice. So we got that going for us, and follow the Funbox Monster podcast, buy stuff from Coast City Comics, follow Bob at Dollar Binge on Instagram.
I started posting again.
He started posting again. You should look at that stuff. And all those things. And Rad Wraith comes back soon.
Yeah.
October.
Cool.
Anyway, thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Have a good night.
Bye. I need a better sign off than bye, but